So, you might notice I have a guest today.
Hi.
You might wonder why he is here. And the reason is we got engaged. Aww. And it was magical. It was amazing.
It was.
We're not in a rush to get married right away because we need money and we need obviously time to plan. We also want to get a house next year. So there's more important things kind of
Yeah, that's true.
than getting married right away. I don't think either of us really mind having a bit of a longer engagement.
No.
We've got plenty of time to prepare. And one thing that I thought would be fun and kind of challenging would be if we skilled up on our baking and cake decorating and maybe even did our wedding cake ourselves. We've made a lot of cakes and things in the past. Some of them have turned out okay. Some of them have not been very pretty, but
True.
you can tell the effort was there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't...
It was lacking.
Yeah, it wasn't giving Pinterest. It was giving, you know, my first attempt at making a cake. But it looks like that every time.
I don't know. Some of them come out better than others.
Some of them do come out better than others, but on the whole it generally is quite messy. I think I just envision like this beautiful vintage, you know, the heart cakes that everyone loves. I don't know whether we would go for that, but I know that's not within my abilities.
Or mine, probably.
Or yours. Yeah. But you've always been the cake maker and then I'm the creative one, so I do the decorating.
That's true.
Not to say that you're not creative, your creativity is in like other ways.
No, like you're pretty in a different way.
Don't say that to me or I'll cry. So the way that we've decided to get our skills up enough to be able to make our own wedding cake is to make one every month.
A reasonable amount.
A reasonable amount of cake. It's going to be a challenge, but I think we're up to it. Because the thing is, when it comes to getting married, what we might lack in money, we make up for in ambition.
Yeah.
I planned that.
Did you?
I thought of that this morning. I thought it was funny.
It's good.
Yeah.
It is good.
So yeah, we do have a journey to go on. We have a bit of practice to do, I think. One thing I did want to clear up and address really, really quickly before we get into this properly is we're doing this because it's a bit of fun. It's a way for us to spend time together and it's a way for us to save money. Weddings are expensive. I haven't even began to look properly at planning things yet. I haven't even got like a number in my head. I don't know if you do. I don't have a number in my head of like what our wedding budget is. I just know everything is expensive and if we can save money anywhere, we should do that.
Yeah.
Maybe not anywhere. I don't really want to splurge on anything.
No.
Honeymoon.
Yeah, can't make our own honeymoon, can
Can't
we?
make our own honeymoon. I don't want people to think that we're saying your time is not worth the money. That's not the case. It's that this is something fun. So just wanted to take that and do what you will with it.
So we'd like to do it ourselves.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, we can't become our own photographers, can we? I mean, yeah, I don't want all...
Down the aisle.
Don't want everything on like selfie and self-timer.
Yeah.
Wedding dress, it would be a bodge job if I made my own, but I haven't ruled it out yet. Wedding venue, we don't own land or anything, so...
No.
So really it just comes down to the cake. So we're doing one cake a month. It's our first time. We're kicking it off with, drumroll, a gingerbread cake because it's December, 'tis the season to be jolly. Gingerbread is like a festive kind of flavour. One thing that will be fun actually as we do more of these is to have like different flavours every month we do it. Instead of making the same cake over and over again, I think it would be nice to explore different flavours. Like I know at some point I would like to try making a chocolate cake with ethical chocolate because the way you make chocolate cake normally is just with cocoa powder, but it's quite hard to source ethical cocoa powder. When it's our birthdays, we can make cakes inspired by our favourite drinks. So like, I know you love a mojito. So maybe in April we could do like a mojito cake.
Could be fun.
And then for me, I was like, I just like pink. So.
Not really a drink, but...
Not really a drink, but I like pink drinks.
Not really a drink, more of colour.
But anyway, each month we'll probably have a different flavour, different theme, something to switch it up so we're not just doing the same thing every month. Maybe some of you might think, well, shouldn't you make your wedding cake over and over and over again until you can get it perfect? But I think in general it's better for us to just get our skills better. And also I don't know what I want my wedding cake to look like right now. Our wedding cake to look like right now.
That's the first one you've got. Give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Well, you know, what can I say?
I hope this is recording.
So let's get into it. First we made gingerbread. I'm going to cut forward to that, so here you go. Do you remember how you make gingerbread?
Not at all.
What do you need?
So we're going to need some ginger.
You don't have to, James,
Some
you
ground
don't
ginger.
have to perform.
I'm going to use a little bit of nutmeg, just a little bit because it's kind of horrible. And then I've got my backup ginger, just in case I run out of ginger. And you might want ginger So I've got more ginger.
So ginger and
Just in case
nutmeg.
they run out. Yeah, it's supposed to be cinnamon, but we don't have any.
We could go to Tesco.
But we have these for icing.
Are they still
Biscuit.
soft?
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Do you want me to go out and get cinnamon? I can go.
I feel like you want to go.
I don't want to cause any panic buying or conspiracy theories, but this was actually really difficult to get hold of. What did you call this earlier, the way you lay out your ingredients?
Mise en place.
Mise en place. The audacity you had to come from my mise en place when this is how you're setting out your ingredients.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they all use sort of like single-use plastic containers.
Oh, so it's
So it's
sustainability is the reason why you're a mess.
Exactly. That's why you get out of
Okay.
jail free card.
Can you talk through what you're doing for the people watching along?
Yes, for all 5 of you watching along. Cut that out. Right, 100 grams of slightly salted, almost butter. There we go. Can't afford lab hack, so this will do. Enjoying this?
Yeah.
Going behind the camera. 100 grams of sugar, granulated. I guess it makes a difference which one you use, but this is the one we had. And then syrup. So I don't really have syrup, but last time I made this, we didn't have syrup either, so I used honey. About 3 tablespoons of honey, which seems like quite a lot.
You know that's a dessert spoon, don't you?
Just do 2 of those.
2?
Well, is a tablespoon bigger?
Yeah.
That's going to be too much honey, I reckon.
What did you do last time? Have you always thought?
Yeah, I've always done these, yeah. Stove time.
That's the French way.
Does anyone know why it seems to be in French chef, they hold a whisk like that, I'll go like that, instead of like how I use a whisk like that.
I think it's because you're so gentle.
Keep that on low. Should be done in a minute.
We're doing so well so far.
We? Do you say we?
I might have done it.
Done. The melted stuff is done. Just all the dry stuff, basically. So
How much flour do we need?
225. That'll do. 227. If they come out badly, we know why. Next, ginger.
The star of the show.
Really is. I put a bit more in than last time. I put like a dessert spoon, but like a bit more, probably like 1.5. Probably won't use a nutmeg. Now I've got the cinnamon. Cool. That's the ginger. Cinnamon.
I'd just put loads of cinnamon in it. I love cinnamon.
You like cinnamon, do you? Cinnamon challenge.
No, I'm good.
Should we do that?
No, thank you.
Didn't people die from doing that? I feel like I read somewhere that's like people actually died.
I don't think so, but
Do about half. That'll do. Next, mix them all together. This dough is very workable, so it's hard to over mix it. So I'm just going to dump it all in at once. If it were like a delicate dough, so I really cared about mixing it like not too much, I'll probably do it like bit by bit. Just get that mixed.
is the raw dough nice to eat as someone who likes eating cake mix?
As someone who likes eating cake mix, probably, do you want to try a bit?
Yeah.
Or seemly.
Thank you. Bon appetit. Oh, it's warm still.
Yeah, that's why it's going to go in the fridge.
That is so nice.
Look.
It feels like I've just eaten like a really cinnamony cookie dough. What kind of consistency should it be?
Yeah, that's about right. It's sort of like it's like a shaggy dough, I think they call it.
What
So I'm
does
going to
that
mix it. It's kind of like it sticks together, but it's not like a smooth ball.
It doesn't mean it likes Scooby snacks.
Right. I'm going to give it a knead, I think. If this was like a pastry dough or something, then this would be definitely overworking it. Because pastry dough, you obviously want like little butter bits. It's easier to like roll it out now on a baking tray to the sort of thickness you want, and then put it in the fridge. Because like when it comes to actually doing it, it's already rolled out. So ideally you want to sort of roll them when they're covered by parchment paper, otherwise rolling pin kind of sticks to it and you get sort of like bits stuck on the side. So if you put like one layer of parchment paper, the dough, and then one layer on top, and you roll it that way, you're kind of just rolling it on the paper instead of like actually touching it directly, which means hopefully you won't get any stuck bits. Because it's so crumbly, it's difficult to move it off.
Is it like that once it's cooled down as well?
No, it's just solidify a bit. That's why I think you put it in the fridge, sort of firms it up. Yeah, see? Tried it. It's stuck.
More for me, it's fine.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually. Do we need to bake it or should we just...
Cover your gingerbread dough and leave it in the fridge to cool down for about an hour. It will firm up and be easier to work with afterwards. Our sound is bad enough. We don't need you crying in the background. Yay!
Ta-da! It's cold, which means we can use cutters.
He's upset with us because we did his flea treatment today. It's his stars for Christmas.
Just go to town.
Beautiful.
It is.
I can just tell these are going to be delicious.
Hopefully. I can see how much butter is left on the baking sheets. They're going to taste nice.
So when you've rolled your stuff out, whatever you've got left over from cutting your shapes out, you can roll that back up and make more shapes. But chances are you're still going to have quite a lot of dough left over. So what we do is just take those odd bits and just cook them, even if they're not cut into nice shapes. And then what you can do is you can just crumble them up and you've got gingerbread crumbs. I mean, they taste just as good as the ones that are cut properly. So you can still use those.
Put them in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Obviously, if they're a bit bigger, maybe go up to 15. I think it's 160 or 170 degree fan oven, 190 regular or convection. So after you take them out of the oven, you can put them on a cooling rack or any sort of space with free air underneath it to help cool them down. Leave them to cool until they're cool enough that the icing you put on them won't melt.
In terms of icing, I think for these biscuits, just really simple royal icing is best. Literally just get some icing sugar and water. And personally, I love covering them in sprinkles. Okay, it's the next day. We made our gingerbread biscuits and I also ordered things off of Amazon so that I can properly decorate the cake. I feel like what let me down in the past was not having one of these rotating cake table things. I don't think it was a skill issue, I think it was a tools issue. So I'm glad that we can finally find out if that's the case or not. We're gonna make just a normal sponge cake. I've also bought 2 small tins. These are just 12 centimeter diameter.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna make a cake every month, that's a lot of cake. So if we can keep the size smaller, even just in like the beginning months as we're practicing and stuff, I feel like that will help. What I think we already do well is James's cake recipe. What we don't do well is like the construction of a nice cake and it looking professional and pretty. We haven't really got that down yet, so that's where we need the practice. Would you say today's mise en place is mise en placing?
It's okay. The aim for today is just make just a pretty boring traditional kind of sponge. My sponge recipe is not top secret, so you can have it.
Nice.
That's normally for like one sort of big sort of Victoria sponge. So I'm going to do about half of it. I think it might be actually more than enough to fill both of these. This is really easy because I just bung every ingredient in at once, essentially, and just mix it. Don't know if you're meant to do that, but it always turns out pretty well. Just the 100 grams and then 100 of sugar. Seems like a lot of sugar.
Does it?
Yes. Maybe half a teaspoon of baking powder. Maybe a little bit more. I'll do. And then 100 grams of same kind of butter as we made the gingerbread out of. We can't afford that pack. It's tough times. 2 eggs. I think that's probably any liquid. You can add like a little bit of milk if it's too thick. And just kind of mix it all together. I think technically you may be supposed to cream the sugar and the butter together first, but kind of never bothered with that and just sort of mixed it all at once.
Oh, we should add vanilla extract.
Oh yeah.
Somehow we have a rainbow of food colourings. We have raspberry flavour and we don't have vanilla extract.
No, we can just use that.
No, I don't want to do raspberry. Let's do raspberry another time. It's okay. I trust it'll still be delicious. Are you holding the bowl like that so I can see, or just that's how you like to hold it?
So you can see it.
Oh, thank you. I think I've seen enough. Oh yeah, preset the oven to...
Probably like 180. Everything's 180, so 180 will be alright. Just try and get all of the inside. Still on the thicker side, but I think it's okay. Put them in the oven for about 15, 20, probably more than that minutes. The top should be like nice and golden, and then you should be able to stab it with a fork, or a knife actually, is probably easier. Stab it with a knife, and if the knife comes out clean, then that's how you know it's cooked on the inside. I'm
trying to think about how to use our gingerbread cookies and decorate the cake with them, because obviously they don't bend. So I was gonna put them around the base, like the side of the cake rather than the top, but I don't know about that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I wanna have some kind of gingerbread flavour in the actual cake, like the filling that sandwiches the 2 layers, like the buttercream or whatever. How would you make like a gingerbready buttercream? Could you add like some cinnamon? Yeah, cinnamon and ginger to it maybe. Is that gonna be nice or is that gonna be gross?
That would be alright. I mean, the stuff in the gingerbread is just ginger and cinnamon, pretty much, so
and sugar. So we found a very simple buttercream recipe where literally it's just the ratio of 1 to 2 with butter to icing sugar, right?
Other way around, isn't it?
So if it's 1 butter, it's 2 icing sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to try to start with 100 grams of butter. That's 100, well, that's lucky. Icing sugar is so messy. So I need 300 overall weight. Yeah, but I didn't reset it, so it needs to go up to 300. Oh, it is everywhere. It looks like I've just been smoking. Just be really careful mixing your butter and icing sugar. I had to do it really slowly and almost fold it so that it didn't cause like powder to go everywhere, but it does mix eventually. I'm gonna let you add the cinnamon and ginger because I don't trust myself.
Just gonna eyeball it. That looks all right. Yeah, try that.
I think just do your cinnamon and ginger to taste and see how you like it. I also added some red food colouring, but as a warning, it did take me a lot to get it to look red. So even just adding it to like a small batch, I felt like I used so much food colouring. So if anyone has any advice for how to make your icing different colours without like just feeling like you're dumping in loads of food colouring, let me know if that's a thing. But I decided to practice piping on these gingerbread cookies first before I went and did the actual cake, just to get used to like the feeling of using the piping bag and the consistency and all of that. And my first one came out a little bit shaky, but as I sort of practiced more and more on the cookies, I think I got better at it, and I was soon, you know, making like quite nice looking cookies. It's not bad for someone who's not very good at piping. We had a casualty.
Not quite as non-stick as advertised.
No. The problem is never the cake being nice, it's always this assembly part. I've seen actual like bakers do that thing where you put a bit of buttercream on the surface first. I'm assuming it's to keep your cake in place while you're working on it. So I just copied that. Everything I know is just from like YouTubers and cooking shows. I don't actually have any knowledge of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just kind of picking up things as I go along. But I added some gingerbread cookie crumbs in the middle. Then I put like buttercream on the other bit of cake before I sandwiched it, and it looks like a nice little sugary little burger. Then just spent a while covering it all in like a base layer of buttercream. I sped through this just because I don't know how interesting it is. But here's something as well, if anyone cares to advise or give advice. I don't know how you're supposed to get like that really nice smooth surface of buttercream. It just wasn't really working for me. Are you supposed to like use heat? Are you supposed to, I don't know. I know people do a crumb coat and then they do another coat on top, but I don't know if that really helps, does it? I don't know. When it comes to piping, I know that some of this piping isn't the best. It's not great, is it? I mean, yeah, I changed the tip of the nozzle and then did that like thicker kind of, what would you even call it, like a textured kind of piping instead of just that smooth thin piping, just to like get used to using different nozzles and things. But yeah, it was still very challenging. I added like splodges of icing on so I could support my big gingerbread cookies I was putting on the top, and then eventually changed over to this red food colouring icing. The hearts, you know what, the first heart I did was really good, and then as I kept doing them, I got worse at them as I went along, and then I took a deep breath and I got slightly better at them again during the end. The bow, I feel, looked better in person. Looking back at it in this video, it just looks sad and miserable. But anyway, a general piece of advice, if it's not going well, cover it in sprinkles. More is more, I think, with cakes. I'm sure people will disagree with me, but I do think adding more helps. And I'm here officially to, you know, prove that just because something might not be good, it doesn't automatically mean it's bad, because I wouldn't say this cake looks good, but I wouldn't say it looks bad. So there you go. But yeah, me and James are really proud of it, I think, for our first one. The cookies looked really cute. I think maybe that proves that I'm a bit better at piping on a flat surface instead of like a round cake. So I guess that will just come down to practice, but everything tasted good, and that's the main thing. And that's how the cake turned out.
Wow, look good.
It did look good. It did. How would you rate the cake? We should do it out of 5. I read a whole thing about how rating things out of 5 instead of 10 is way more accurate, because
Interesting.
10 is way more objective. Whereas if like something's out of 5, everyone's got a more similar picture of what like a 3 out of 5 looks like, what a 4 out of 5. Whereas like some people would place things at like a 6 out of 10 when they actually mean an 8, or like someone else would give it an 8 and they like it the same amount. It's the whole thing. Anyway, I think we should do it out of 5.
Let's do it out of 5.
Okay, so for you, for your score, I'm going to give you a 4 out of 5 because... What?
That's too high for week 1.
No, it's not.
It's too high.
You're already really good at cooking. We established this. I tried to establish
I'm
this
good
in the
the
beginning.
kitchen.
You're good in the kitchen. I think what you could have improved on this one, and I don't know if this is even possible, but you know when you took the cakes out and they'd cooked like that, rather than more kind of domed or flat. I don't know if that's possible to improve or
Probably.
not, but I would say like that would probably help, because we obviously, when you level the cakes so that you can stack them, we ended up cutting quite a bit off. So it's just, again, saving money, I would say. So we've got more cake at the end. And then the second thing is, I think the gingerbread could have been taken out like a few minutes earlier, but this is also down to preference, because you like more crunchy things and I like more doughy things. So the biscuits are quite hard, they're delicious, but that would be like a preference thing. I prefer biscuits to be kind of like crunchy on the outside and a little bit softer in the middle, whereas these are just like kind of quite crunchy biscuits. They're still gorgeous. What would you give yourself?
Well, it's just a cake and biscuits, so I don't know, 3.
3? Where do you think you can improve? You're so good at making cakes.
So 3. I'm happy with a 3. 3's good.
Good.
People should be happy with 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Even 2 doesn't mean terrible.
Yeah, because I guess it's 40%.
Yeah, it's just because like Airbnb and stuff. If you see someone with like a rating below 4.5, you're like, that person's probably making it.
So we're blaming Airbnb.
I'll blame Uber actually. I think they're probably the worst.
I don't know if to give myself a 2.5 or a 3 for the cake decorating. I think what I improved on, this is the first time I've made buttercream, I think, the correct ratio in my life, because normally when I make buttercream it's really, really runny. What I must have done was just not measure it in the past.
Yeah, probably not.
So that was a big improvement for me personally today.
Well done, well done.
I was really proud of the lettering. I thought lettering was going to be really, really tricky, but I made legible, for the most part, lettering. There's obviously, again, room for improvement, but yeah, I did good. I think 2.5 is fair, because I think there is such... I think the difference between us is you're already really good and I've got more of like that learning curve still to go.
I mean, you have the hard job, I think, with the decorating. I think the cooking, just a sponge cake's pretty easy.
Yeah, but your sponge cake is very nice.
I'd give you, I think I'd agree, a 2.5. I think you're about to cry. Pouch your lips.
2.5, yeah? That's fine.
There's room for improvement on both of our parts.
But I think there's definitely more to improve on my end. But
The
that's what
scores would
makes it fun.
suggest that.
The scores would, yeah, I know the scores.
Just to
would
be
suggest
clear.
it. So I'm really happy with how our cake turned out. I think for a first attempt, well, it's not our first attempt, but I think to start off this little challenge we're doing, I think it came out really well. I think it's going to be fun to see like each month and how much we're able to improve. If you have any ideas for us of things that we should make next month, please let us know. If you have any recipes, James does really good with recipes, I don't.
I can follow recipes, yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you have any ideas, and we will see you in January.
Thanks for watching.
Best wishes and kisses.